Find me when you have a moment. Lena?
Hey. How are you holding up?
Fine. It's fine, really. You needn't worry.
Okay. That sounded sincere.
What's up?
Well, you said you wouldn't mind me keeping an open channel, so I thought I'd check up. I'm worried. Mining Ops is not giving me too much information. All they told me is that you're having some kind of a delay. Is it true? Are you in trouble?
Yeah, serious trouble. My base is stuck in the middle of nowhere, and there's a lava river I need to cross.
Aren't they helping you?
Are you kidding me? All they care about is how much rupidium I collect. Greedy bastards.
Jan, you're going through a lot, but I'm sure it's more complicated than that. Just tell me what's the plan.
Why are you so interested all of a sudden?
Why are you so jumpy all of a sudden? You think I'm spying on you or something? I got a feeling you wanted to talk to me again, that's all. Maybe I was wrong.
Yes, you are wrong. I don't want you in on this.
Oh, so this is what it's about. Well, I'm sorry, but there's much more at stake than what you want. The rupidium has to be secured, and I get a feeling Mining Ops is not very open about the state of things. Look, this isn't personal, but the way this situation is managed is wrong in so many ways. I looked up this Maxwell guy, and there seems to be a weird secrecy around him everywhere he goes.
Secrecy?
Yeah. Not much information about how he got into Mining Ops. Nothing on what he did prior to that. I'm starting to worry he's playing games to get all the credit for finding rupidium. At the cost of your safety, Jan.
Yeah, I don't like him either.
Then why did you put your life in his hands by going on that stupid mission?
Well, it's not your problem anymore, is it?
No, you're right. It's not. Forget I asked. Forget I even... Never mind. You know what? I better go. I hope Maxwell gets you home safe. Bye, Jan.
Should I do this now?
Hey, something you wanted to discuss with me? Remember our little chat about success?
Yeah? What about it?
I wanted to suggest we push harder.
Tell me.
Crunch hours. Clean and simple. A lot of productivity is wasted on socializing, binge watching a series for the 100th time, or just pointless moping about. People can work till they drop, you know. It's been done before in emergency situations.
Will we really be more productive?
Just watch and rejoice. Of course they won't be happy about it, but it's a small price to pay. I guarantee that.
Still, it doesn't sound like something I could keep up forever.
No, but even doing it at small intervals can drastically speed up the completion of crucial tasks. Excellent. Hey man, what's with the long face? Don't worry about it. Why not? Come on. What usually cheers you up? I don't know, man. Maybe catching up with someone I helped. Being appreciated for my efforts. In that case, why don't you tell me about some of your good deeds over a beer? Well, I wouldn't want to breach anyone's right to privacy, but I may have a story or two for you, yeah. Crunch.
I'm done here. Should I do this now? What a shitty day. Lucas, what's up?
I thought I'd check up on you. How's that bridge going?
All good, Lucas. Everything under control. Why do you ask?
Well, I just wanted to tell you again how important what you're doing is. You know, collecting rubidium. In case you forgot, which would be totally understandable. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want you to feel pressured. You don't have to worry about it now if you've got more important things on your list. Just, don't forget about it completely, okay? Keep it in the back of your head, please, for when you're less busy.
Okay, Lucas. Noted.
Perfect. Speak soon.
Like real low on radiation filters. You again. You do know we're running out of radiation filters? I'm done. Should I do this now? That's ridiculously amusing. You better watch your mouth, asshole. What was that about? Just another valuable discussion with our most charming alter who wanted life and feels sorry for us pathetic losers. Details, please. Ugh, do I really need to go through that again? That asshole attacked me for using Mom as an excuse for not pursuing my ambitions. Seems to me he's the one looking for excuses. You're more alike than you think. Yeah, dude, I know, we share a face. It's more than that. You're both proud and stubborn. You feel like you have something to prove to each other, but you don't. Not with those sharp minds and tongues. Yeah. Listen, I'm not saying you'll be friends, but you could try to find common ground. I finished my tasks. Want me to take care of this now? Want me to take a look there? What were you arguing about?
Nothing. He's just oversensitive and can't handle a little bit of constructive feedback.
Tell me more, please.
What's there to tell? He cowers behind the mask of a hero who sacrificed his chance to get a proper education to stay with his mother, and he tries to judge me for doing the opposite.
I don't think he's cowering behind anything. I think he's just as proud and judgmental as you.
Pride without ambition is just arrogance. We're nothing alike.
Are you sure? He gets shit done just like you, and he's a pain in the ass, also like you. Fair is fair. Maybe I underestimated him. See? Now go hug or something.
Don't be ridiculous. Best I can do is give him the benefit of the doubt.
looks like a good spot to place the bridge anchors.
I can see something's upsetting you. Don't make it worse. Love the attitude. So what what do you usually do when you're angry? Nothing usual about these circumstances. Oh, I don't know, Jan. I try to avoid people who irritate me. Must be annoying to live in such a confined space. Nowhere to hide. Yeah, it's so great to be understood. Now, if you'd be so kind as to let me avoid you. So, we completed the crunch. Congratulations. And, what are your thoughts? It was totally worth it. You're learning fast. Good, but there's more to this lesson than just the ability to push your team to their limits. What's that? You learned that sometimes achieving a goal requires being hard-headed. It can mean brutal methods, but it brings results. Huh. Thanks.
Hey man, you're clearly pissed. So, I'd like to help. How do you normally deal with anger? You know me. I exercise. Go for a run with loud music on, hop on a bike, outdoor sports work best, I guess. In that case, being stuck in this tin can must be a nightmare for you. No bike, no outdoors. Don't worry about it. You actually made me remember that I can always take a break and sweat it all out. I can do that in the base. Man, I'd love to see the... Is there a problem? Yes, Jan, there's definitely a problem. People are fed up with how you're running this mission. What do you mean, fed up? What exact... I'm telling you, this is the least important of our priorities. Hey, what's going on? What are you arguing about? We got together to celebrate our progress, but it looks like we've reached the limits of a constructive discussion regarding our different views. We can't agree on the playlist. I say nothing beats good old rock and roll, but it seems our tastes got pretty rotten in some branches. If you ask me, we should get us some turntables and launch a proper set. Turn this place into a club. You might not have noticed, but I was trying to make a point. If you really have to listen to music now, pick something we can focus to and think about the challenges ahead. Ever heard of a surgeon celebrating while the patient is still on the operating table? Yada yada yada. I bet your taste in music is just about as fresh as that patient. That's because your narrow mind will never grasp the beauty of AI-fueled synth jazz. Of course. What else could our elitist version indulge in? Jazz for rich people who forgot about its roots. Okay, guys, let's not kill ourselves over a stupid party playlist, please. You never said what you'd want to hear. Let's get a rave started. Hell yeah! Unbelievable. Look, there's definitely one thing we have in common.
We are very emotional about a party playlist.
Of course we are. Hey, I just realized something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we all start out playing with Frickle Pickle?
Oh my word. Just as I was fighting so hard to get that memory out of my mind. The very mention of that ludicrous name makes me want to die of humiliation.
Come on, it was a high school rock band. It had to be cringy to be authentic. Hey, remember that gig we had in a shed and the electricity died and we ended up moving to a total stranger's house for an epic after party? I remember our gigs. Hardcore fans chanting our name, and they always showed up. All 5 of them.
And thank goodness that joke of a band broke up when everyone...
Speak for yourself. I got together with the guys several years later and we jammed on the weekends. And to think it all started with Uncle Martin's guitar.
He wasn't exactly a perfect teacher, unless you wanted to learn how to chug a bottle of beer in under 5 seconds.
That's because he was a musician, not a babysitter. Remember the first thing he made us play? Hey man, we talk.
Keeping busy, I hope.
Is there a... Yes.
What do you mean? What exactly? Should definitely take some time to practice.
Hey man, you're clearly pissed. What about team sports?
I can see that... What? can see...
Hey, does everything really have to be about work for you? I hope you remember about our demands. Don't worry. You simply need to practice some more. Hey dude, our repair kit supply looks very low. happened in the kitchen? You look pale. Mild food poisoning, that's all. The fridge. I'm so sorry. You must feel terrible. Don't get soft on me. I'd much prefer it if you stopped neglecting your responsibilities. Cheers, man. To a fresh start. You're doing something about happiness, right?